Hey everyone, welcome back to the cafe. Louis V here as your host, going through yet another massive record haul. Now, these are records I have collected over the last, say, month or so that I've added to my collection from various sources, whether they be from local record stores or shopping online or ordering from Discogs. It is a hodgepodge of records. So they're not in any particular order, and some of them, actually most of them, I've listened to already. So the ones that I have listened to, I'll be sure to share with you my thoughts on them. But there's some that are so fresh, I just haven't had the chance to listen to them yet, but I at least wanted to share them with you, as you probably like haul videos like me. I love to see what people are getting. And speaking of that, if you picked up any new records lately, be sure to leave a comment below with your latest scores while you watch this video. It'll give you something to do, and it'll allow me to kind of keep an eye out for the things that you like. So I always love seeing what people pick up. They're some of my best videos and best comments that I see on YouTube. Okay, so let's dive into it. 2023 issue of Four Non-Blondes. This is bigger, better, faster, and more. This is the GZ cut. So this is a Czech Republic cut. And I was a little bit skeptical going into this. I picked this up because it had good reviews and it was pretty affordable record. Plus I had some credit where this record was available. So for me, I wanted to give it an ad. I gotta tell you, I listened to this album in totality when it came in, and it was a great sounding record, especially for being a GZ cut. I think it sounded really well. You do have to hurry it up a little bit to allow all those dynamics to come through, but I'm okay with that. I'd rather you not compress the music and allow me to hire it up to get the full load, if you will, versus you compressing it and then it's just not there. There's nothing you can do. All you do when you hire it up is you just get more crap. So this is a really, I think, a good sounding record without breaking the bank. I don't think you can go wrong. Again, this is the 2023 US Europe release of Four Non-Blondes, and of course it has the hit song What's Up. Love that song, one of my favorite songs of all time, and it shines on this pressing. So really happy to add this one to the collection. Okay, this next one I picked this up from Experience Vinyl. This is Live at the Print Shop by Blank Records. Blues Traveler. This was an event that they recorded live at the print shop, and it's a print shop record. They only done a handful of these records, but it is in a beautiful gatefold. The artwork is really, really nice, and if you like Blues Traveler, you really can't go wrong here. It's got the hits. You got But Anyway, Hook, 100 Years, Carolina Blues, Funky, and Runaround. And it's on a beautiful pressed vinyl. You got a nice printed inner sleeve image on both sides, and then you got this nice little starburst, pink starburst on one side, and just kind of a plain pink on the other side. So I think it's really cool pressing that they put together. I like Blues Traveler. I just saw them in concert for the 30th anniversary of Four. They really rocked the house, still have a lot of energy. So this came in at perfect time because I just came out of having that live concert feel, having the boys in my head, and then this showed up on my doorstep a few days later. So, timing's everything sometimes when you collect records. So I'm looking forward to listening to this. I haven't given a listen yet, but it's probably going to happen here in the next day or two. So I am excited to give this a spin. Okay, next up is Otis Redding. This is the Dock of the Bay. Of course, it has the hit song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. This was the last album that Otis Redding recorded in studio before his dreadful plane crash that ended his life. Too short, may I add. This is a fantastic sounding record. The Atlantic 75 series is a phenomenal series. That is where acoustic sounds or their analog productions, they're kind of one and the same, are reissuing the Atlantic 75. It's 75 albums to celebrate Atlantic 75, and they're kind of giving them all the audiophile treatment, which means they're pressed at QRP, which is acoustic sounds, pressing plant, so it's a high fidelity pressing plant. And then they're just doing them right. They're mastering them well. They're doing a lot of sound checks before they come out. These are supposed to be definitive copies. I gotta tell you, I have a couple versions of this album in my collection. This is probably the best. Actually, it is the best sounding version of this album that I have. It is phenomenal. Otis is in the room with you when he's singing. And if you're a fan of Otis Redding, if you're a fan of this album, if you're a fan of that hit song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, this is probably the version to get, and I still think you can get the unnumbered version on acousticsounds.com. So I'm not a FOMO person, but if you love this album, I would definitely grab it before they're gone and you're forced to pay aftermarket prices. That's my recommendation. Take it or leave it, but it's a phenomenal sounding record. I'm very grateful to have that in the collection. And I did play, on one of my shorts, I did play a sample of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay from this cut. So if you are curious, go ahead and check out my short of that song. Okay, next up is Mazzy Star. This is So Tonight That I Might See. This is from 2024 Record Store Day version. Really cool. This is the, what do they call it? Violet Smoked with Splatter or something like that. It's actually a pretty cool looking record. It sounds well as well. I would give it probably a good 4.5 or so. It's a good version of the album. Honestly, I don't have a need to go search for another version of this. So if you can pick up the Record Store Day version, it would be a good album for you to pick up. But yeah, just in addition, I didn't have this album in my collection, and I came across it at a reasonable price. So there it is. Now I have it, and I could check it off the list. Okay, this one I'm actually pretty excited about because it's in phenomenal shape. This is a 1962 Lightnin Hopkins. This is his album On Stage. And if you're not familiar with Lightnin Hopkins or Sam Hopkins, he's a fantastic blues singer. He is a fantastic plucker of the guitar. There's the Imperial logo there, which is great. The album is in great condition. It's a strong VG plus. It did have a little bit of noise when I played it. I ultrasonic cleaned it. It still had a little bit of noise. I did a manual clean and re-ultrasonic cleaned it. It's probably 90% there. I think if I give it another round or two, this record's gonna sound almost perfect. So for being a 1962 Imperial high fidelity record, this is a great addition to the collection, especially for me who's been on a blues theme lately. Again, a high fidelity pressing of its time of Lightnin Hopkins, and it does sound phenomenal. Okay, this one we're just gonna pop in and out. I don't know very much about it. I got this as part of the Magnolia Record Club. It's a Christmas album. I don't really collect Christmas albums. My wife does, so I'll wait to play this with her, but it's Wild Child Christmas Mixtape Volume 1 and 2. I can't tell you anything about it. Okay, got some VMP picks here. I'm gonna blast through these real quick. The Gus Cannon, I haven't listened to it, but apparently this one's really sought after. A lot of people are really interested in that. Got the Old Dirty Bastard. This one I originally had when it was released on the hip hop side, but it came with the skip on, I think it was side D on the album. There was like a digital skip, and it was overlooked in a preview, and it got pressed out to the masses. So anybody who has the original one is owed a replacement, because that should have never happened. They should have never had the digital skip, if you will. Yeah, so this wasn't cut from masters, obviously. It was from a digital source, and it had like a skip in it. So people joked and said, what did they do? Cut this from a compact disc or something? I don't know. I'm just saying that's what people are saying on the internet. So I did get a replacement copy. I haven't even broke the seal on it yet, just because I've already listened to my other one a few times. My only interest in this one is going to be that it fixes the skip, but it's a great album from ODB. Okay, I also got this one. This is Lacquer's cut by Cicely Baston at Air Mastering. Is LT? I don't know if I'm saying that right, guys. I don't know anything about this artist. This came in as part of the VMP hip hop album as well. I haven't even cracked it open. This is one, you know, I like the VMP because I get a lot of records sometimes of artists I'm not familiar with. This one I'm not familiar with at all. I know nothing about them. I hate to say that because there's probably hip hop folks out there that are like, how do you not know about them? And I'm seeing here on some of the thanks, you know, you got De La Soul and a couple other people that I am familiar with, Pete Rock, Rusta Roots, etc. So I'm familiar with some of the folks that he's mentioning here. So I don't know. I don't ever recall owning an album of this guy in the past. So this is going to be an interesting one for me to finally spin once I get it spun, but I haven't even opened that one yet either. All right, folks, this is from the Atlantic 75 as well. This is the exciting Wilson Pickett from the Atlantic 75. I actually had some issues with this one. This is the first time I had an issue with an Atlantic 75 pressing, and I got to tell you, the beginning part of this album, it's a mono, so keep that in mind, but it sounded extremely muddy. In fact, I even recorded how it sounded on my turntable. I sent it to Acoustic Sounds, and they sent me a replacement LP1, which is where, honestly, the track Land of a Thousand Dances was the biggest culprit. Now, I haven't spun this yet. I literally just got this in the mail like 2 days ago as a replacement, so I just cleaned it, ultrasonic cleaned it. I wanted to give it a spin before I did this video, but I just haven't had a chance because of Record Store Day, which was just recently. It was only about a day or two ago. So exciting Wilson Pickett. Listen, I would go at this with caution. This should be the definitive version of this album. For me, it sounded very muddy. It sounds like the tapes are getting worn out. Land of a Thousand Dances, at least on the original version I got, was almost practically unlistenable. Sounded horrible. I mean, like the worst version I ever heard of the song. I'm really hoping that the replacement LP fixes that. And if it does, then I'll leave a comment below. I'm going to listen to this later. I'll leave a comment below this video to let you know if the LP made a difference or not, the replacement one, because if you did get that album and you think it also sounds muddy and you don't like the way Land of a Thousand Dances sounds and you wonder if there's anything you could do about it, I'll let you know if working with customer service is even worth your time. Okay, a couple records from Rhino Hi-Fi that I haven't cut the seal on yet. This is the Stooges self-titled album, and then we also got the Ramones as well. Both of these are, I heard amazing things. They're both pressed at Optimal Media. Limited edition to 5,000. I don't know if these are even available anymore. They might even be sold out at this point. I am interested to know how both of these sounds. I just wish time was more my friend lately. This is the problem when you're trying to get new records, build a YouTube channel, do reviews, play with equipment, do equipment reviews, work a full-time job, make the family and wife happy. There's not enough time, folks, but as we get into the holidays and hopefully things calm down a little bit more, we'll have a chance to get through some of these records. Okay, I don't think I talked about this one yet. If I did, I apologize. But this is The Cure, the latest album from them after, 16 years? This is Songs of a Lost World. This is the double LP version. I did not want the single LP version just because this album runs too long, in my opinion, to be cut to a single LP. So I did go with the 2 LP version. It's half-speed master. I was a little bit skeptical of that because sometimes half-speed mastering, they don't sound that good, especially the low end. I gotta tell you, I'm really happy with the way this sounds. I have no regret. I'm so grateful I grabbed the 2 LP. I heard that some of the other folks that grabbed the single LP aren't that thrilled with the audio quality. It doesn't sound bad, but either you have to crank it or it feels maybe a little bit compressed. I'm glad I went with the 2 LP. And going by the reviews on Discogs, I'm not alone here. This is probably one of the best sounding versions of this album. So sounds phenomenal. The Cure still got it. It feels like Cure is back, if you know what I mean. It feels like they never skipped a beat. They're back home and they're where they should be, producing wonderful music. So super happy about this one. I've actually listened to it twice and probably listen again a third time here before this week is out. Okay, this one's fun. This is No Doubt. You're familiar with this. Tragic Kingdom have some of the best songs that No Doubt has ever come out with, in my opinion. This is a rocking album from start to end. You definitely have things like Don't Speak and Just a Girl and a bunch of other songs on here that you know and still get played on the radio. Interesting enough, there's no information on this particular pressing. The runouts aren't on Discogs. There's nothing even close to the runouts of this album on Discogs. So I don't know if this has got repressed or what. The copyright date on the back says 2014, but it's no 2014 runouts that I could find. The barcode, when you scan by that, doesn't match up. So I have to do a little bit more research on this one. I don't know what the backstory is yet, but running any portion of the runouts in Discogs has got me nothing. I haven't been able to isolate this down to say, oh, okay, it's just a second pressing of a current reissue. So more details to come if I unlock anything about this that I think is worthy. I'll leave a comment below. But yeah, no doubt Tragic Kingdom is a fantastic album. If you don't have a copy of this in your collection, you should probably look to get one. It's one of those staple albums that you just have to have, in my opinion. All right, if you've been a part of this channel for a while, you do know I'm a big blues fan. It's relatively recent. I've kind of been rediscovering blues over the last year, and I've been building out my blues collection throughout the year, and I was super excited when Bluesville came out. That's the collaboration with Acoustic Sounds and Craft Recordings, and they've been releasing these records on the Bluesville logo, and I just picked up the 2 here. So you got Jimmy Reed here, as you can see, and then of course we have the none other Blind Gary Davis. I haven't had a chance to listen to the Blind Gary Davis yet, but I'm Jimmy Reed sounds phenomenal. The harmonica that Jimmy has just pops off. It's like next level. I feel like Jimmy's harmonica, man, is a dead front in front of you. It gets so loud sometimes that it's almost ear piercing, but it's never to a point where it's not tolerable. Just the dynamics on this album is just fantastic. So that makes me super excited to listen to Blind Gary Davis, because I heard phenomenal things about this album too. And here's what I'm going to tell you, folks. If you're not familiar with Bluesville and you're into blues, these are all done well. They're mastered by Matthew Luthans. If you're not familiar with him, I believe he's the Kevin Gray new prodigy that's coming out. They're all cut from AAA master tapes. So these are all coming from master sources. They're on 180 gram vinyl, QRP, which is a very high fidelity pressing plant. And they're all being basically co-produced or co-published or reissued, however you want to say it, by Acoustic Sound. So you really, honest to gosh, can't go wrong. This is like getting something from the Pablo series or getting something from the Atlantic 75 series. I mean, they're that good. The best way I can explain these are like the Rhino Hi-Fi series. They're just done really, 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 really well. They're probably some of the best sounding albums that you're going to have in your collection of that particular album. And I think they're $30 a pop, $29.99 or something like that a pop. So how really can you go wrong here with these albums? It's vinyl latte, and we never drink coffee. Sometimes when you talk a lot, you just need coffee. Okay, this is a soundtrack that I picked up at my local that, quite frankly, I said, how could I not pick this up? The soundtrack is Until the End of the World. It's got some fantastic artists on here. You got Talking Heads, you got REM on here, Elvis Costello, Can, Lou Reed, Patti Smith, Nick Cave, T-Bone Barnett, U2. I mean, the list goes on, folks. Now, the soundtrack is a 2LP released in 2019 and is, of course, the soundtrack to a movie that released in 91. Now, I never even seen the movie in 91. At least I don't ever recall it. Maybe I did, and I'm just too old to remember. But I am intrigued now to go watch the movie just because of the awesome soundtrack. I mean, every time I look down, I see another great band. I just noticed I look down and Depeche Mode's on here. Like, every time I look down, there's just another awesome band that's included on this list. So I'm super excited about this one. I haven't spun it yet, but going by some of the reviews that I've read online of this particular pressing, I'm not going to be disappointed, which that's a good thing. Okay, I picked this next one up at my local. It's REM, Out of Time. You know some of the songs on here, like Losing My Religion and Shiny Happy People. This is the 25th anniversary edition. It was released in 2016. It had a perfect cover on it. It had a perfect clean record. Somebody actually just traded in a huge like Rock collection over there. And a lot of the records, I picked up a good chunk of them, but a lot of the records look pristine. Some of them are a little bit, but this one particularly was traded in and it looked brand new. So I had to grab it. Okay, I picked this one also up at my local, which is Marvin Gaye, Dream of a Lifetime. This pressing is from 1985. It is the Pittman pressing. Still has the hype sticker on it. A $6.50 price tag on it as well. Yeah, this was just another example of which was just an ultra clean version of this album. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have Dream of a Lifetime in my collection. And when I saw this, and I think it was under 10 bucks, I just felt like it was a score, especially in a beautiful shape, still with the shrink and the hype sticker on. I just felt like I couldn't go wrong. And then seeing the old kind of Soul CBS, department store sticker on there for $6.50 or whatever it is. Yeah, $6.50 just kind of made me chuckle a little bit. So I went ahead and snagged this one. I did get it on the ultrasonic, haven't listened to it yet, but people said it's pretty good. It's not great, it's not like an audiophile pressing, but it's above average. A lot of folks are happy with it. Some people have some minor complaints, whatever, I don't care. But for me, for the price I paid, I mean, as long as it sounds decent enough, I'm gonna be happy with it. Okay, next up is Crowded House. This is Woodface from 2016, Europress. Grabbed this at the local as well. Part of that gentleman who traded in a bunch of rock albums. This one's super clean as well. Near mint across the board. Sounds really good. I'm happy with the way that it sounds. So that was a nice little ad. And then this is one I scored recently as well. This is the Crowded House self-titled. This is the 88 US repress of the album by Specialty Pressings. And of course, it has some, great hit songs on here that we all know and love. The Mean to Me was I think the first single that came out of this record, and then Don't Dream It's Over is the other one that gets a lot of play. So really clean example as well. Very minty record for being a record that's, approaching 40 years old. So super excited to add both of those Crowded Houses to the collection. Okay, the next one up is a little bit of a rare record. This is from 93, GNR, The Spaghetti Incident. This is the original press on Griffin Records on that beautiful orange color here. Let me just show you. This isn't the unofficial release. This is the real deal. And it was a very minty record. So this is a very hard to find GNR record. This is the fifth studio album, if I'm doing that in my head correctly. It was the first one, and I think the only studio album that featured the guitarist Gilby Clarke. So this is really, really cool one to add to the collection here. It's supposed to sound reasonably well. It's not an audiophile type pressing, but this one does run pretty high, and it's hard to get. This one's a hard to find record, so a little bit of a grail for me. I could have picked up the unauthorized or counterfeit version for a lot less, but why do that? Why support a culture that's just horrible, and it's not right. I don't know. I just don't like supporting the counterfeit market. I'd rather not have an unauthorized copy. So knowing what the real deal was, I wanted to grab the real deal. So super excited to add this one to the collection. And quite frankly, this is why I'm really, really looking forward to spinning. It actually just arrived on my doorstep last night. So I haven't even dropped it in the ultrasonic cleaner, but it looks super clean. I don't even know if I need to. I will, but I don't even know if I need to clean it. Okay, if you watched my Record Store Day video that I just did a few days ago, you'll know I was super stoked about getting Better Than Ezra's deluxe album, mainly because I'm a 90s rock guy. So you could imagine how excited I was when Bush's 16 Stone came out, 30th anniversary of this album, which just is a rocking cool album. This is an album I think it just has so many great songs on it. Everything Zen, Little Things, you have Machine Head, you have Glycerine. These are all songs that I think were played on a radio. In my opinion, you could play this whole album from front to back, and every song is just a rocking good song. The pressing I went with is the 30th anniversary pressing of this. This is on the sepia vinyl limited edition by Barnes & Noble. You'll notice I have two copies. And that is because this is the one I originally got. This is the one I pre-ordered. I received this, it sounded fantastic, and then it got to the very last song, the very last track on the album, and there was a freaking defect in it that was audible, man. And it wasn't like just a little quick second where I was like, oh, I could live with it. No, it was like for a minute and a half. The pressing defect just would go on and on and on and on. So I contacted B&N, and they went ahead and just sent me a new one. I just got this in the mail yesterday. I haven't even cracked it open yet. So I'm really hoping that between the two, I'll have a completed album, and then what I do with the other one, I don't know. I'll probably end up selling it at a discounted price just because it has a defect on the last track. But or I'll give it to a friend that really wants the album. I'll just give it to them. One or the other is what I'll do, but super excited to have this. I did listen to it. It is a fantastic sounding album. You do have to crank it up a little bit, but honest to gosh, Bush is one of those bands you're going to want to crank up anyway, especially this album. It's awesome. So happy to have this to the collection. Okay, honestly, I don't know if I shared this with y'all before or not. I do have other pressings of it, so I'm sure I talked about this before, but this is Otis Blue, Otis Redding Sings Soul. This is from the Atlantic 75, just like the other Otis Redding that we shared. The only challenge, I think, with this Atlantic 75 series is that they're doing a lot of albums from the same artist, which isn't necessarily bad because it allows you to build out your catalog of great audiophile quality records of that artist. But at the same time, I would have liked a little bit more variety. I already have, I think, 3 or 4 different pressings of this album in my collection. So just adding another one is like, man, what am I going to do with all of these pressings? I mean, it is what it is. It sounds great. I listened to it. It's a wonderful sounding album. No issues with this, not like the Wilson Pickett at least. This is a great pressing and probably will be the definitive version for a lot of folks, especially if you could still get your hands on it. So if you're an Otis Redding fan, now's a great time to grab some of their records from Acoustic Sounds because they're reissuing them thanks to A75. You just can't go wrong. Also part of that series is Genesis Nursery Crime on 2 LPs. This is 100% all analog. It was, mastered and cut from the original master tapes. And this is another one where they've been just doing a lot of Genesis as well. So if you're a Genesis fan, you're going to be super happy to get your hands on these records because they're really done well. I mean, they're fantastic. But if you're not a Genesis fan and you subscribed, you're like, oh my gosh, here's another Genesis album. So I just wish there was a little bit more variety coming out of the Atlantic 75. That's my only complaint. Do I have a complaint about the quality of the records? No, only that Wilson Pickett, but hopefully that got squared away on that resend. Okay, part of the Interscope Vinyl Collective, this came out. This is Across the Universe. This is a soundtrack of the movie, and if you're not familiar with this at all, you're probably not a Beatles fan because this is all Beatles songs put together to make a movie. Now, they're all cover songs, right? These are all covers of Beatles songs, done really well, produced really well. It's a great version of a lot of Beatles songs. But yeah, I mean, that's what you're getting. You're getting 3 records of Beatle covers done to, score a film, and it's just fantastic. And if you've never seen Across the Universe, it's at least worth seeing once, even if you're not a Beatles fan. If you can tolerate the Beatles, it's worth seeing once because the movie aligns with the music. So as the songs of the Beatles goes on, it kind of aligns to the themes of what's going on in a movie. They've done a really good job syncing the two together. So I haven't seen the movie in ages, but I'll tell you, I did spin some of the songs in the album, just kind of get a sense of how it sounded. It sounded phenomenal. Great job, Interscope, on this one. I didn't do research on this to find out if these are from same plates from another pressing, because Interscope's been doing that a lot. Their Interscope vinyl collectives are just represses using same plates that they used before. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. But if you don't have a copy of this album, or you're a Beatles fan, and for somehow or another you're not familiar with Across the Universe, this is the way to go, guys. Go ahead and grab this and give it a spin because you're going to be really happy with the way this sounds. and what's included with it. All right, this one I've been enjoying a lot. This is a 45th anniversary edition of the band, The Last Waltz. Arguably one of the best albums of all time, but arguably not the band's best album. This is a reissue. I believe this was in 2023. This particular one came out as part of the Rocktober release, and it sounds great. No problems with the way this sounds. I know you can get a lot more expensive versions of this album almost anywhere else. I think I added this to the cart because I was buying some stuff at Rhino and I was trying to get free shipping. And I have no regrets on doing it. It sounds great. I've listened to it, I think, twice now. It's funny how I've listened to certain albums more than once and others I haven't listened at all. Don't ask questions. But I listened to this twice so far, and I think it sounds really great. I'm glad to have what I would call a really good pressing in my collection. If you have the Rocktober version, or if you're looking for an affordable version of this album, I do recommend the Rocktober. I have no interest in hunting another version of this album. First off, it's a live concert, so, you know, it's only going to sound as good as a live concert's going to sound cut to record. The second thing is that I think it sounds great. It sounds like it's recorded in almost a studio atmosphere, so I'm happy with it. Okay, this next one is from VMP. It was done as a collaboration with Marantz. Now, this is a reissue of the album they did a few years earlier. I think, what does it say? Back in 2020, so 4 years earlier. This is Explorations in Sound. This is meant to be a demo album, an album that you would play to show off the power of vinyl. It comes with basically, it's 4 LPs broken down into 2 sets. Volume 1 is Listen Like a Sound Master. Volume 2 is Listen Like a Producer. And you're getting a variety of different songs. You have classic music on here, jazz, you have pop and hip hop, you have a little bit of everything across here. So to me, this is a good album. When somebody says, hey, I want to hear your setup, you could pop this on and you're going to find a style of music that whoever wants to hear your setup is going to like. The other thing is that the way this is mastered, the way that it's pressed, it's meant to be a demo album. It sounds phenomenal. Some of the songs in here, honestly, were the best I ever heard my system sound. I mean, just really that dynamic, large sound stage. The way that the instruments came together and the way that you can kind of spotlight where everything was just phenomenal. So I was really happy. It took a long time for this to come out. Got delayed a bunch of times. A lot of folks didn't even know if it was going to end up getting reissued after a while. People were worried it was going to get canceled. It didn't. I got to tell you, there's a lot of that going on, by the way. A lot of folks are worried that pressings at VMP are going to get canceled because they keep getting delayed and are afraid that they're going to lose their money. Look, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you the future of what's going on at VMP. I could tell you we talked to Matt. He did an interview. You saw it. It's published on the channel. He says that the future is bright and bold for them, and he's happy to look forward to what's next. But I got to tell you, all the albums so far I ordered, even though I had to wait maybe a year, have come out. So as long as you're a little bit patient, you're going to get the albums that you asked for. And so far, I haven't had anything come out that I pre-ordered that I would say I'm really, really disappointed in. Maybe Alicia Keys' box set was the only thing I was slightly disappointed with because it was supposed to be a high fidelity pressing. And because of the whole change of pressing plants, etc., ended up being a GC cut. So would I have picked it up knowing it was a GZ cut and knowing it's been reissued as a non-box set by GZ itself? No, I think I would have saved the money and just got the regular GZ cut off the shelf. In fact, I saw one yesterday at Barnes & Noble that I would have picked up for a fraction of the price. So I think that's the only one I feel a little bit burnt on. I wish they would have used a better pressing plan. At least I would have felt better about it. It's funny because even if it sounded the same, I probably would have felt better about it just knowing the extra care, love, and attention went to it. And it's not something I could just go randomly get at a big box store. All right, this album is Cody Dickinson. If you don't know who he is, neither did I. This is his album, Homemade. I picked up this album for 2 reasons. One, I heard Cody Dickinson at the Blues Traveler 4 30th anniversary tour. He was the opening act. And he started a little bit soft, started a little bit slow. I didn't know his music, so I don't know if they were supposed to be slow songs or not. But man, starting with song 3 and for the next, whatever he played, it was all just awesome energy, really good music. And when I saw that he had his LP there and it was also autographed by him, I just felt like I had to support the artist. So I grabbed the album and I listened to it. It's not a bad album. It's very, bluesy. It's definitely not a bad album. I don't know. I don't know if it's your thing. I would stream it, give him a check out, see if you like him. If you have the chance to go see him play live, do that. He does bring some energy. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that in the moment, right? You're at a concert and you want to pick up something, kind of remember the concert by. This was a great score for a record collector. You pick up the album that was part of the opening act while you're at the concert. So a little bit of just fun for me, I guess. All right, did get some Pablo series come in since we last talked. This is Sarah Vaughan, A Celebration of Duke. And then we also got Kansas City, another Count Basie album here. And this is another case where Acoustic Sounds has decided to just rabbit hole on certain artists. Now, I understand that Pablo only released so many different artists in her time, and this is the Pablo series, but I feel like I'm getting countless Sarah Vaughan and Count Basie albums. But nothing wrong with that. It's good music, and I'm not gonna get rid of it. But it's good jazz music. I just wish they would open up and do maybe different artists. Ahmed VMP release. Junior Wells VMP release. I haven't played them, guys. Can't talk to them. But they came in my VMP box. I heard good things on Discord channel, the VMP Discord channel, about both of those. They are on the playlist. They're sitting next to me here until they get played, but I can't really tell you very much about them because, quite frankly, I don't know very much about them. So this is Shovels and Rope. This came as part of the Magnolia as well. This is Something Is Wrong up above my head. I played it. It's okay. It's not a bad album. I don't know if I'll get respun or not. Maybe I'll play it again at one point. I think it's cool music to put on while I'm working or something like that. Or if I'm trying to do some things around the room or the house, I might play it then. But I don't know. It was okay. Not bad. And then we got this one. This is Gwen Stefani's reissue, a long-awaited reissue of Love Angel Music Baby. Got a lot of good songs on here. Holla Back Girl, What You're Waiting For, Rich Girl. It's on Neon Pink, 2 LPs. The artwork looks fantastic. I haven't listened to this one yet. You're noticing an ongoing theme here. But yeah, this is, I'm looking forward to this. This was one that was on my want list. The original pressing goes for a lot of money. It's hard to find in good condition. And then when I saw it come up for reissue, I grabbed it right away. And I think I pre-ordered this at my local, and I was able to pick it up recently, just before Record Store Day. I think when I was filming the sneak peek, I went and picked that up. All right, if you're into classical, then this one's for you. Andrea Bocelli Duets. This is a reissue of the album. I think it's a reissue. I think this was pressed on vinyl before. Maybe it's the first time on vinyl. I'm not really sure, but this is the highlights. You could pick this up almost anywhere. I did see a copy of this at Barnes & Noble when I went through, but it's got some great songs here. Time to Say Goodbye with Sarah Brightman is one of the most beautifully emotional songs that you're ever going to hear in your life. And if you want to challenge me on that, go ahead and pause this video, go YouTube that. It is a phenomenal song. But you also have Jennifer Lopez on here. You have Ed Sheeran on here, Celine Dion. The Prayer is also another fantastic song on here. You got Chris Stapleton on here, Gwen Stefani, Mark Anthony, Shania Twain, Hans Zimmer. So you just have a lot of cool folks on this album. And I gotta tell you, whether you appreciate classical music or not, I think you would appreciate this album. So check out it. Give it a stream at least. Broaden your spectrum. This is beautiful music to put on. That's really gonna be, gonna feed your soul. Andrea Bocelli Duets. He's a fantastic singer. Folks, this is the last one I have to share with you, and I have a little bit of story that goes with it. This is Dave Matthews, listener-supported. Fantastic album, man. I had this on compact disc back in the day. I think I even bought the DVD. They had a DVD of this. I believe they had a DVD of this concert. I have to go through my DVD collection to see if that's true. But this is a fantastic concert. It's got a lot of the great hits on here that you're familiar with early Dave Matthews music. It's recorded extremely well. I'm not a fan of what Boy Tinsley did, but I do miss his violin in the Dave Matthews Band. I wish they would bring the violin sound back, but of course this is early enough where that still exists. Recorded in New Jersey, and it is a great box set. My only problem is one of my discs came scratched from the factory. I think it was LP3, the blue one here, came scratched at the factory. So I did reach out to DaveMatthewsBand.com, which is where I picked this up. They are supposed to be sending me a replacement LP3. So I'm going to wait until I get the replacement disc in, and I'm going to listen to this box set in totality. But I did spot check it just to make sure that it sounded good. And so far, I'm intrigued of what I've listened to. And I can't wait to actually just sit down one day, maybe make a nice little latte, put my feet up, long day, turn down the lights here, get the mood right, light a candle, put the lights down on that kind of like amber, almost red kind of orangey tone, and just get lost in a live concert, bringing myself back to, seeing Dave in concert. I've seen Dave in concert a lot over the last, 25, 30 years, however long he's been touring. So super excited about getting through that box set. So far, all of the Dave Matthews reissues have been done really, really well. Some Devil had some pressing issues, but I think I got that sorted. The colored versions had pressing issues. The standard black vinyl is the one to get. And it's also the cheaper one. Folks, that's it. Is it everything? No, I have records over there that we didn't talk about. And I have some stuff that are piled up outside this room that I haven't even brought into the room yet. And I have some records that are sitting in the cleaning room that I haven't talked about yet. So you could see I am buried in new music. Plus, I just got all those records from Record Store Day. Be sure to check out that video as well. Man, that's a haul, ain't it? That's a lot of stuff. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of the new stuff with you. Follow up with the things that I promised you with in the comments below. And while I do that and get another cup of joe, please go ahead and leave your comments on the albums that you picked up, because I love hearing from you. And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and get ready, because I got to go see you on the next video.